See the dramatic rescue from a swollen river and see the Hoosier hysteria alive and well in April tonight at 11 o'clock.
More news more often tonight at 11 on Kentuckiana's News Channel, WHAS 11.
You know, I think I finally figured out these fast food value meals. You can get a burger and a large drink and a large fries, or 2 cheeseburgers with a 1-ounce smaller drink and a medium fries. But the 2 cheeseburgers are the equivalent in meat quantity to 1 cheeseburger at another place, where you get 1 ounce more drink and a large fries. So for about $1, you get about 5 more fries.
You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out where the best value is in fast food. With a combo meal for just $1.89, Rally's has the lowest average check of any major hamburger chain.
To those of us who knew the pain of Valentines that never came, and those whose names were never called when choosing sides for basketball.
At Baptist Hospital East, there's a special place where troubled teens learn to cope and families heal. Call now for confidential help.
It isn't all it seems. 17.
Thunder Over Louisville, Saturday, April 23rd on WHAS 11.
Welcome to the Crusaders. We're the news magazine that's on your side.
This week we're crusading to prevent our government from polluting our oceans and bays, and we're fighting to keep children out of the deadly grasp of kidnappers.
This week on the Crusaders, the military wants you to be all that you can be. Or do they? In some cases, they don't want you to be honest.
I get my dogs poisoned. I get murder threats.
This soldier wanted to save lives and stop corruption in the military. What he got instead was a tarnished service record, a career ended, a life ruined. But the Crusaders are blowing the whistle on the government and trying to help some soldiers who did the right thing. Then, they're polluting our oceans. They may be poisoning our fish and threatening our lives. This week, the Crusaders expose the people responsible. You won't believe who they are or what they tried to get away with. And the Crusaders take on our nation's worst nightmare. Child molesters use tricks and treats and promises to lure their victims away. Surely you know the dangers, but do your children?
He said, with what I know, I could have a kid in my car in less than 5 minutes.
Do you really know how to protect your children? And then, tired of hearing about random acts of senseless violence? Well, we think it's time for random acts of senseless kindness.
You know, you look like you could use a flower today. Do you have to pay for it? No, I just want to be nice to you.
The Crusaders ignite an amazing idea, a National Day of Kindness. Plus, those fat-free foods that seem so good for you may actually do more harm than good. Our Consumer Report exposes the truth behind those fat-free labels. And now, from our newsroom in Los Angeles, the Crusaders, with senior reporters Howard Thompson and Carla Wohl.
Thank you for joining us this week. In a moment, we crusade to rid our nation's waterways of tons of toxic waste. But first, we fight against injustice in the U.S. Army.
Sergeant Paul Payne has devoted most of his life to the United States military, fighting for his country and his beliefs. Now, after blowing the whistle on illegal practices at his base, Sergeant Payne is fighting for his beliefs again. Only this time, his opposition is the U.S. Army itself, and the battle has been one of his toughest yet. That's why the Crusaders are joining the fight to protect the rights of Sergeant Whistleblower.
One sergeant major in a garrison command says, listen, Sergeant Payne, you go past me, you're going to make trouble for yourself. He was right. Chemical rags dropped in my house. I get my dogs poisoned. I get murder threats over the phone. My fingers were shaking. They were shaking so bad because I see my career fall apart before my eyes.
Sergeant First Class Paul Payne is a 23-year military veteran who's currently stationed at Fort Lewis in Washington State. Up until 4 years ago, he oversaw a multi-million-dollar budget while supervising a department of 20 soldiers who packed and repaired parachutes. His official file was filled with glowing reviews, and he was in line for a well-deserved promotion to Master Sergeant until he blew the whistle.
I tapped into an interpersonal network of illegal activities, and all at once I posed a threat to a lot of people making money off their self-centered interests. are your tax dollars and mine.
Payne discovered that unauthorized jump pay was being doled out to paratroopers who weren't even jumping, and a contract to modify parachutes was illegally awarded to the wife of a superior. The reward for bringing this information to his commanders? He was removed from his post and busted down to a job as a janitor. When the brass started to question his sanity, it made him a nervous wreck.
Before I knew it, they started writing this report up that basically says I'm totally insane.
Payne was the victim of what we found to be a common Army tactic to discredit whistleblowers. His superiors ordered him to undergo a mental evaluation, which automatically puts a black mark on his service record. Whistleblowers are often viewed as a threat to military commanders, who fear that their own reputations and future promotions will be jeopardized when embarrassing and sometimes illegal activities are uncovered on their watch.
Okay. Come here, Nancy, give me a hug.
Payne sought relief by requesting a formal Department of Defense investigation and calling his congressman, action sanctioned by existing whistleblower laws. The DoD investigation exonerated Payne, but it didn't faze Fort Lewis commanding officer Lieutenant General Carmen Caveza. The toothless whistleblower law allowed Caveza to refuse a Pentagon recommendation last July to give Payne his old job back. The base IG said that you did the right thing, but yet you still suffered reprisals. Why does this happen?
I can't answer that. All I know is it's wrong. And as long as there's self-centered interests and horsepower behind it overrides anybody trying to do something right, it's going to continue.
Shortly after our investigation began, we realized there were hundreds of others like Sergeant Payne, patriotic men and women who were suffering the consequences of uncovering wrongdoing in the military. Mike Tuffarello is a former naval officer who was drummed out of the service 10 years ago. He has received documentation from other whistleblowers about their troubles with the military.
The military contends there's not been one substantiated case of retaliation. I mean, letter after letter after letter. Not letters. These are horror stories, if you would. Okay. You would think that it was something written by Stephen King.
Tuffarello now runs Wounded Eagles, a support group for whistleblowers like himself.
And it's always my pleasure, rest assured, to rub elbows with fellow Wounded Eagles.
Based in Dallas, Texas, his group lends a sympathetic ear to over 500 troubled servicemen and women.
I blew the whistle on a defense contractor. I reported waste, fraud, and abuse, a $200 million worth of fraud. I got sent away for 4 psychiatric evaluations.
Reported an illegal slush fund.
Yeah, I exposed over $800,000 of fraud. As with Sergeant Payne, 20-year man. I was a 20-year man myself. Served in Vietnam, risked my life for country. 18 years later, I blew the whistle on corruption. And I'm treated like a dog hauled away to a mental ward, incarcerated, not given my just due as far as my promotion. I was denied a promotion.
Time and time again, Tuffarello has heard the same story from other whistleblowers. Mess with the military chain of command and risk losing your career, your retirement, your happiness.
He did his duty, and now he's being retaliated against for it. The military, to this very day, says that they don't have not one documented, substantiated case of a military whistleblower being sent to a psych ward. I ask of you, why then did Congress pass a bill prohibiting the military from doing what the military claims it has never done? That's not logical. It is being done. People are being tossed into mental wards, Soviet-style tactics at its worst.
The Army has consistently refused to answer charges like these, charges that they routinely subject unwilling whistleblowers to mental exams and take other retaliatory actions against them. My calls to the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of the Army were referred to Pentagon Public Affairs, and they refused to talk. I wrote letters, to no avail. Finally, a Fort Lewis spokesman admitted that the Army would not cooperate with the Crusaders because we were doing a story that it did not support. Sergeant Payne's outrage had become our outrage. It looked like our only opportunity to hear from an Army officer connected with Payne's case was to confront retired Colonel Harry Fleming. Fleming was singled out for disciplinary action in the Department of Defense investigation because he allowed reprisals against Sergeant Payne.
Why did you order Paul Payne to undergo a mental examination?
I did not order Paul Payne to undergo a mental examination.
He didn't do anything wrong, and he was the victim of reprisals.
I am not aware of any reprisals taken against Paul Payne.
It's right here in the DOD report, sir.
I have not seen the DOD report.
I can show it to you right now.
I would prefer not to.
What do you have to say to the American people about this?
I have nothing to say to the American people. Paul Payne was dealt with the Army system in a way the Army system was designed to deal. Paul Payne had no reprisals, to my knowledge, taken against him.
No, I ain't going to give up. If I take a bullet in the head, I want to get this going where it's going to continue.
You've said that a couple of times, Dave.
You better believe it.
Do you really believe that someone's going to put a bullet in your head?
Oh, I don't know. When I get a bomb in my mailbox and I get run off the road on my way to work in the oncoming traffic, I get my car window smashed on post, I get my car rewired on post, it has a tendency to get my attention, if you know what I mean.
It's a sad irony that the same military and government institutions that should champion whistleblowers are instead treating them like unstable troublemakers. Why should they experience the loss of dignity, the feelings of isolation, just because they know the difference between right and wrong? I came here to the nation's capital in hopes that we could find a way to put some teeth into the existing laws that are designed to protect the whistleblower. Senator Grassley?
How you doing?
Good morning. Howard Thompson from the Crusaders.
Yeah.
I took our crusade to Iowa Senator Charles Grassley, an outspoken, passionate supporter of whistleblowers, who co-authored the 1989 law to protect them. He agreed to look into creating legislation that would establish a committee of civilians to review military whistleblower cases so that men and women like Sergeant Payne won't have to suffer retaliation for their good deeds.
If I were President of the United States, I would make sure that we gave medals to whistleblowers and not chastisement. These people are heroes. It's very important to the processes of government to encourage whistleblowing. Why encourage whistleblowing? Because legislators, even top administrators, can't know where all the skeletons are buried, what closets they're in. You need people that are on the inside to expose the skeleton.
After months of our prodding, the Army finally responded to Sergeant Payne's complaint about being forced out of his old job. It offered him a partial settlement for the actions taken against him, on the condition he not talk to the media, including the Crusaders. But Payne wasn't satisfied. He felt that after all this time, the offer was inadequate and the terms unacceptable. He felt accepting a partial settlement would be selling out.
I'll leave as a private with my integrity intact before I leave with a sellout. If I get promoted, it's going to be on its own merit alone with no conditions. And what I want to do is send a message loud and clear. You got to stand up. You got to stand strong.
Our crusade has gotten Sergeant Payne the justice he's deserved for years. The Pentagon has finally confronted the problem, admitting that Sergeant Payne suffered reprisals, calling his actions, quote, a credit to him and the Army. Also, 2 Department of Defense officials are reportedly investigating why Sergeant Payne has not been reinstated to a job which would best utilize his skills.
All right, Howard, thank you. The Crusaders will return in just a moment.
Later, we hear about random acts of senseless violence every day. Well, here's a revolutionary idea we're crusading to take coast to coast. Random acts of senseless kindness.
Yeah, I'd like to pay for hers.
To pay for my coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Everything or just the coffee?
No, everything.
Oh, and the address so we can pay for all of it.
But next, they're supposed to be protecting our oceans and bays. Instead, they're polluting them.
So what's this tell you? It tells me that they're still dropping them overboard.
They said they'd clean it up, but they tried to cover it up. The Crusaders will return.
I have a fresh solution for denture odor. Minty Double Action Polident. It controls denture odor and cleans tough stains. Minty Double Action Polident. And when you're away from home, try the denture cleanser to go. New Polident White.
Now you can get 50% off all frames at LensCrafters. 50% off every frame we carry.
LensCrafters 50% off all frame sale.
This is a great deal. People should not miss this.
Hurry, LensCrafters offer ends soon.
Guess what fruit drink gives your family a new reason to smile?
Here's a secret, a little bit to tickle. A soft cold glass of Kool-Aid.
Smile, it's Kool-Aid. Now with 30% less sugar than high tea and Hawaiian punch. So you can always feel great about giving your family as much as they want of their favorite fruity drink.
A soft cold glass of Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid sugar sweetened drink mix. Less sugar than those other fruit drinks. More reasons to smile.
She killed her first husband, escaped from prison, changed her identity, and married him. She didn't even know her real name. Could someone you know be hiding the past? You should get from next Oprah.
Tomorrow at 4 on WHAS 11.
If you want to laugh and play, then there's no place like my Tennessee mountain home, Pigeon Forge. Why don't you give us a call to find out more?
You're about to witness a man execute his death wish. Sign the organ donor release on your driver's license. It just takes a few seconds and can give someone a lifetime.
The Crusaders, making a difference for you.
We trust them to guard our nation's waterways, but instead they've been polluting them. The U.S. Coast Guard has been secretly dumping thousands of toxic batteries into our oceans and bays. This week, Crusader William Lajeunesse reveals some incriminating new evidence and exposes the Coast Guard's deep secret.
2 miles off the west coast of Florida near Clearwater, on an island where endangered tortoise breed, we discover a sight that will make you sick. Hundreds of batteries leaking toxic chemicals into the food chain. Some are thrown in the sensitive tidal marshes that qualify this island as a state preserve. Others are buried near the abandoned lighthouse from where they came. 300 miles away in the Florida Keys, hundreds of batteries, poisoning the ocean and maybe the seafood we eat. The Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary protects the last coral reef in the continental United States. Dropping a battery here is like dumping a few drums of toxic waste into Yellowstone National Park or spraying graffiti on the walls of the Grand Canyon. You just don't do it. Yet look at what we found. And in Sitka, Alaska, workers pull another 100 batteries from the rich commercial fishing waters of the Kenai Peninsula. The Crusaders has learned that these batteries are just a fraction of the 900 tons of batteries once dumped each year by the last organization you'd ever expect, the United States Coast Guard, which never wanted you to see these pictures or know how big this problem really is.
What'd you find? It's loaded. A lot of the old-style batteries, the old lead-acid batteries.
Bob Raiola, a diver for the state of Florida, first discovered large numbers of batteries in Tampa Bay beneath Coast Guard buoys and lighthouses. We broke his story nationally in September and joined his crusade to clean up the bay.
Reach in here. This is what the Floridians call a stone crab. This is what we all enjoy getting. Not cooperative.
And his mealtime has been inside that battery. That's his house.
That's his house. That's where he lives, breathes, and breeds.
The people eat thousands of these. These are a Florida delicacy. These are served in restaurants. They're served not only to native Floridians, but to all the tourists that come down here.
And the point is that some of these batteries, they found mercury content. Mercury causes miscarriages.
That's correct. In fact, in Florida, in certain parts of the state, women are advised not to eat more than one fish a week if they are pregnant because of the mercury contamination. Not to mention what the lead that is contained in these batteries will do to people.
And here's one with eggs.
The Coast Guard told us it stopped dumping batteries more than 20 years ago, in 1973. But when we discovered batteries dated as late as 1989, we confronted Lieutenant Colonel Roger Gibson at the Coast Guard base in St. Petersburg.
In the early 70s is when Coast Guard policy on disposal of batteries was promulgated.
But when did it really stop?
1973, to the best of my knowledge. Of course,
if it was worth stopping dumping them, wasn't it worth cleaning them up?
Will we take a time out here for a minute?
In Washington, D.C., Ed Wandel, chief of the Coast Guard's Environmental Cleanup and Restoration Program, told us the same thing and claimed he had no idea how widespread the problem was.
How many batteries do you estimate are lying in the bottom of America's waterways?
We don't have any idea.
So, I mean, you found 1,000 at 31 sites in Florida. Doesn't that
I really can't make any judgment. You know, you're asking me to give you a specific, precise number. I can't even give you a ballpark.
Maybe Wandel didn't know. But the Coast Guard did know. Its crews dumped batteries after 1973, and it knows precisely how many batteries it's recovered and where thousands more are buried. And we can prove it, because we obtained internal documents showing a Coast Guard cover-up. There are too many batteries in the water, says one memo. Too many beyond innocent causes, too many of the more recent vintage. Plus, in South Carolina, marshes there in people's backyards, says another document. In Jacksonville, the Coast Guard found, quote, numerous batteries that have become an oyster bed. Documents we obtained show the Coast Guard has uncovered batteries littering America's waterways at more than 500 sites in 15 states. Rhode Island, New York, Maryland, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, California, Alaska, and Hawaii. In Alaska, the Coast Guard has found more than 5,000 batteries at 66 sites, from the Kenai Peninsula to Anchorage. In Florida, another 5,000 batteries at more than 100 sites, from Jacksonville to the Florida Keys, from Tampa Bay to the Panhandle.
Even if they'd just been dropping their trash under these, it would not be asking too much to ask them to clean it up. But it's far more than trash.
Florida Marine Patrol Colonel Curtis Arp got a hold of the same memos we did and initiated a criminal investigation. But after lengthy negotiations, Florida agreed not to prosecute if the Coast Guard cleans up every battery in the state.
Are you giving the Coast Guard special treatment? No. The state of Florida would be much more interested in seeing this threat to the environment addressed and cleaned up than seeking more punitive action.
The Coast Guard escaped quietly in Florida, but documents show it can't be trusted to be open and honest with the rest of the nation. Take a look at this memo, written by a Coast Guard lawyer in Washington, advising Coast Guard negotiators to be somewhat stingy with the amount of information they provide Florida, and don't hesitate to refuse to answer, and don't give them the rope to hang us. We took that memo with us to Washington, D.C. This time, we wanted the truth. However, we wouldn't be speaking with Ed Wandel, but the Coast Guard's experienced Chief of Public Affairs, Commander Ernest Del Bueno.
And it appears like the Coast Guard has something to hide when language is used, like be stingy with the amount of information you provide.
That is your interpretation of it. I don't agree with that.
So, this is irrelevant?
It is as I described. It is a piece of correspondence from one attorney to another attorney that discussed what the Coast Guard posture should be given the threat of criminal charges against the Coast Guard by the state of Florida.
But if the Coast Guard had nothing to hide, why did it withhold information back in August that would have allowed us to inform the public about dump sites in their own backyard?
And we asked, how big could it be? Could it be nationwide? We don't have that information. And then you look at this and it shows you did have the information. That's why I felt misled.
I can't answer. Again, I can't answer why you felt misled.
For 20 years, the Coast Guard sat on a secret that could have long-term impacts on the environment and potentially the public.
so it looks like neglect on your part. And a pro-environmental agency like yours out there ticketing boaters in Tampa Bay and San Francisco Bay and Chesapeake Bay, and yet you had a dirty little secret.
No, I don't believe that's accurate. Again, I think my previous comment was that we had gone out and done battery cleanups previously. Again, we can't, our focus now is on identifying sites, cleaning them up, and prevention.
Is there an assurance that the problem is going to be taken care of?
As I stated earlier, the problem is going to be taken care of. The battery sites that we are identifying, these are not going to be cleaned up by spring of 1994. We can truthfully say that this is probably a multi-year evolution.
Did it take media exposure and a threatening letter from the state of Florida put this on the front burner?
I would say that your national story, plus the threat of criminal action by the state of Florida, certainly had to motivate us.
So our crusade had not been in vain. As we spoke to Del Bueno in D.C., this was the scene in Tampa Bay. A Coast Guard salvage team aboard this barge retrieved 100 batteries. And in Antelope Key, the Coast Guard prepared to inspect its old lighthouse and clean up the toxic landfill they created. Only this time there'll be no cover-up. Everyone will be watching. After seeing our story, we received phone calls from several states. A South Carolina congressman called to join our crusade to protect his state from Coast Guard dumping. And a diver from Tennessee found batteries in the Tennessee River. The Coast Guard says it's in the process of removing the batteries from around the country. We'll keep you posted on their progress.
Okay, William, thank you very much. And the Crusaders will return in a moment, so please stay with us.
Later on this week's Crusader Consumer Report, if you think fat-free foods will help you lose weight, think again. We'll show you how to read between the lines of those fat-free food labels. But next, this stranger could be a child molester. These children should be running away.
Have you seen this old puppy?
But they're not. Would your kids recognize this danger? Would they leave with this stranger? If you said no, don't be so sure. When the Crusaders return.
And now, a 24-hour news update on Kentuckiana's news channel, WHAS 11. Sponsored by Hurstbourne Hotel and Conference Center, where customer satisfaction is guaranteed.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Swan. Tonight on the News Channel at 11, we'll take you to southern Indiana, where Hoosier stars delight the crowd. And what is this in the night sky near the moon tonight? We'll explain it on the News Channel. And Kentucky gets the news from the military. Chemical weapons will be burned in our state. More at 11.
Ever dream of being a professional model? Your fantasy is about to come true, and we're looking just for you. If you possess star quality, enter the Louisville Tonight Live Cosmos Supermodel Search and win a 2-year modeling contract with Paris, USA of New York City. All you have to do is send in 2 photos. Include name, address, home and work numbers, along with your height, weight, birth date, hair, and eye color to this address. You don't even have to be a model to enter. Watch Louisville Tonight Live for details. Weeknights at 7:30, only on WHAS 11.
We heard people come out here just to beef up, so we brought them some Hardee's new sirloin steak melt.
I used to date a football player.
Did you?
6 slices of real charbroiled sirloin. He always wanted steak. Served with grilled onions, peppers, and cheese.
You ever knocked anybody out?
And those great buns.
You mean those great rolls?
I mean those great buns.
Oh, she's right. Have a good meal.
Or make it a steak melt combo. For just $1 more, add medium fries and a medium drink.
Stick ships, automatics, foreign cars, domestic cars, 4x4s, even emergency vehicles. People bring their transmission problems to AMCO centers because they have the experience to tell the small problems from the big ones without mistaking one for the other. So no matter what you drive, if it's a transmission problem, bring it to the people who know transmissions. AMCO, AA, MCO.
I'm Hank Davis. At Davis Center Jewelers, we're saving over $120,000 a year by not being in the mall. That's $10,000 a month we don't have to charge you and your friends. Shopping for jewelry at the mall might be convenient, but it's a convenience that will cost you hundreds of additional dollars. Come to Davis Center Jewelers and see 4 times the selection at about half the markup. Engagement rings, wedding bands, gold chains, estate jewelry, and designer creations. Davis Center, your 40 showcase jeweler.
The Crusaders, fighting for you.
Do your kids know what to do if they're approached by a stranger? Now, before you answer that question, take a look at our next story. You may be in for a frightening surprise.
After spending several days investigating child abductions, I was horrified by what I found and how simple it was for a perfect stranger to lure children away. That's why we launched a crusade to protect our children from kidnappers and end the terrifying game of hide and seek. Shooting hoops in parks and playgrounds is one of the many games children play. But there's another game that may be going on here, with the children as targets. And those who play this game take deadly aim, like this man, who went to prison for molesting 2 girls, 12 and 13 years old. One was his daughter, the other her friend.
So when it comes to luring a child or setting a child up, like I said, you write the script, you're the director, you're the producer. Some of us feed our personal sexual gratification by the script we write, knowing that at the end, you're going to be able to molest this child.
The average molester will molest between 300 and 400 kids in their lifetime. That's a staggering amount. I had one guy write me a letter, and he said in his lifetime, he approached easy 5,000 kids, scored maybe on 10%. I mean, they are addicted to children.
Ken Wooden has developed a program called Child Lures for children, teachers, and parents.
What I want to teach you today are some of the lures that some people use to catch children. Most people are loving and caring and safe, right? But there's a few people we have to look out for, right? And I'll never forget, a killer of 6 children, including a little girl from California, a little boy from California, he said, with what I know, I could have a kid in my car in less than 5 minutes.
No one knows exactly how long it took to lure 13-year-old Charlie Keever and his friend 9-year-old Jonathan Sellers. They disappeared last year while riding their bikes in a San Diego neighborhood. 2 days later, they were found strangled and molested. Police believe they were lured. There have been no arrests, and until there are, Jonathan's mother can't really say goodbye to her son.
I need to see who could kill Jonathan. Who could have done that to him? My baby was so beautiful. I know that he didn't do nothing to hurt nobody. I need to see this person, and I need to know why. And I need to know how. I tried so hard to prepare my baby, and I want to know how in the heck did they get him? How did they trick him?
Tragically, it's very simple to lure kids. We're about to show you just how simple. Ken Wooden approached some children in a park with a standard lure, a story about a lost puppy. He had a picture, a leash, a $10 reward, and a hidden camera in his bag. What you're about to see may frighten you, especially if you're a parent. But Ken Wooden says it's something you need to know.
Hi guys, have you seen this little puppy? He was around here with my wife, and she let him get off the leash. Name is Minky. Like a black Minky. Haven't seen him? He was up around that wall. It's a dumb dog. Yeah. We're giving an award of $10 if you see him.
Okay.
And if you want, just walk up there and see if you see him, because I'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
Just look, all you got to do is just go over there and just kind of walk and call Minky, okay? And I'll be over there.
Okay, you'll be over there?
Yeah, and I'll just look. If you can walk, see, he hides in the weeds. But if you would just look over there, and I'll be up and call Minky. He loves to hear children's voices. All right? I'll be over there. Minky, all right? Here, right up here. Trust me.
In a matter of seconds, all 4 kids were off with this stranger looking for Minky.
Minky!
All right, let's walk up over this, where it's real thick. Okay?
Minky!
Money even thought she saw him in the bushes.
I think I thought I saw him.
Oh, really? Call it real loud. Call it real. I can't.
He's right in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Walk back in there. I can't tell you how dumb Minky is. There was no puppy. There was no puppy.
I know that.
And it was a trick.
About that. I know.
You thought about it. But yet, let me ask you something. Why did you go?
Because since you had the picture and everything and the leash, and I thought, after you left, I told Colleen, what if it's a trick?
Right,
what if he's like a murderer?
Right. Well, there you were up by the weeds. Now, let me teach you something about your stomach, all right? If you heard a siren from a fire truck or a police car or an ambulance, would you feel there was some danger?
Yeah.
Now, the purpose of the I lost my puppy lure, and it's a lure, was to short circuit the siren in your belly. And it went off for a little bit, right?
Right.
Always listen to your belly. It's called your instincts.
The mother of two of the children had warned them about strangers and a story about a lost puppy.
Do you have any gut reaction as a mom?
Well, my niece was approached with this in Portland.
Really?
And we talked about it. She took off. She didn't go with it. And I am surprised because we've specifically talked about this.
Parents not only need to tell their children, but they have to be alert to signs that are going on with family members, with neighbors. Gosh, that neighbor is so nice. You know, he has our children over there all the time. He has pinball machines and, you know, things like that should raise some flags. Why is this person being so nice?
Wooden says molesters study potential victims, looking for the lonely kid outside of school or on the playground. Children must be supervised, and they have to be educated about sex.
Child molesters have told me, and people have murdered children. Consistently, they've said, show me a kid that knows nothing about sex, and I'll show you my next victim.
And there will be another victim. This man has been in therapy for 5 years and knows that he'll always be a threat to children, his own and those of friends and strangers.
You'll never be cured. Like I told you, at my house, there's a lock on my door, a lock on my daughter's door. It's to protect my daughter and to protect me. Protect my daughter from me molesting her and protect me from getting into any more trouble.
One thing you can count on, and I can tell you this as a fact, one thing you can count on, there is a child molester watching. You can count on that. That's a given.
If you'd like more information on Ken Wooden's program, Child Lords, we'll have a phone number for you at the end of the program.
Thank you, Carla. And the Crusaders will be back in a moment, so please stay with us.
Later, could something that seems so good be so bad? Find out what's really hiding inside those fat-free foods. But next, we launch a national crusade against random acts of senseless violence with a National Day of Random Kindness when we return.
Heard the secret? It's a pretty panty that targets your tummy to control you where you need it most. The Playtex Secret Panty Slimmer in new light control, too. They really work.
I have a fresh solution for denture odor. Minty Double Action Polident. It controls denture odor and cleans tough stains. Minty Double Action Polident. And when you're away from home, try the denture cleanser to go. New Polident White.
If you're looking for a little spice in your life, you'll love the new Grand Prix Sport Coupe. Sure, it has all the safety of dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. With a 24-valve, 210 horsepower V6, it still generates plenty of heat. The Grand Prix Sport Coupe from Pontiac.
Guess what fruit drink gives your family a new reason to smile?
It's a secret, a little bit to tickle. A soft cold glass of Kool-Aid.
Smile, it's Kool-Aid. Now with 30% less sugar than High C and Hawaiian Punch. So you can always feel great about giving your family as much as they want of their favorite fruity drink.
A soft cold glass of Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid sugar-sweetened drink mix. Less sugar than those other fruit drinks.
More reasons to smile.
Hey, open up. I want that white thing.
White Water Zest.
Yo, Dad.
The deodorant bar that rinses cleaner so your skin feels smoother.
I know what you want.
Soap is a film you can feel on your skin, but Zest rinses cleaner than soap, so your skin feels smoother than soap. Feels smooth. White Water Zest. Smooth.
I like crossing roads. Dirt roads, country roads, back roads, rocky roads, long and...
Dull chicken? Not anymore. With honey mustard and tangy honey glazes from Shake and Bake, there's
You can feel on your skin, but Zest rinses cleaner than soap, so your skin feels smoother than soap. Feels smooth. White Water Zest.
Smooth. I like crossing roads. Dirt roads, country roads, back roads, rocky roads, long and...
Dull chicken? Not anymore. With honey mustard and tangy honey glazes from Shake and Bake, there's never a dull moment.
Now you can get 50% off all frames at LensCrafters. 50% off every frame we carry.
LensCrafters 50% off all frame sale.
This is a great deal. People should not miss this.
Hurry, LensCrafters offer ends soon.
Now, back to the Crusaders, the news magazine with solutions.
Every day we seem to read the words in the newspaper or hear them on the evening news. Random acts of violence. Well, we at the Crusaders have decided that it's time for a change. Reporter Mark Hyman is fighting back by leading our crusade for a new kind of random act.
And so it goes, the daily dose of violence, most of it random, all of it senseless. Which got one college professor to thinking, what if we changed one word in that equation? One word and a random act of senseless violence could have a very different meaning.
And I thought, boy, if I could just take out that word violence and stick in the word kindness, I'd completely change a negative phrase into a positive phrase, and it's a phrase we all recognize. But I think we got a long way to go, don't we?
For Dr. Wall of Bakersfield College, it's nothing less than a backlash to the way he sees violence portrayed in the newspapers and on TV.
You see, what the media does, in my opinion, it perpetuates the need for violence because we give them credit. I mean, when the gangs are fighting, what do? We run down there with all the cameras and we give them a spot on 6 o'clock news.
What doesn't usually get a spot on the 6 o'clock news, says Dr. Wall, are random acts of kindness. So you can only imagine the response he got from his class when he told them that was their homework assignment.
Here's what I want you to write down. Today, I will commit one random act of senseless, and I waited for him to catch up. And I said, kindness.
I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, could you give us an example? Because we really didn't know what we were supposed to do, you know, because a random act. Hungry? There we go. You hungry?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Hey, if you guys get thirsty, there's some drinks right over there. Oh, he's coming.
Okay, so some confusion in the beginning, but it didn't take long for Dr. Wall's students to figure it out.
There you go.
Thank you. God bless you. But there's more to this story. As word got out about Dr. Wall's class assignment, folks from the community got involved.
The KKXX Street Force hitting the town today at 2:30. We're going to be out performing these random acts of kindness, and we need your suggestions. Where is the need out there, all right?
You made her day.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
You made her day.
The requests are now coming in from all over the United States and Canada.
And the next thing you know, this kindness thing wound up in the papers and on TV. Why, they even had a bumper sticker. And all this publicity, they sold thousands of those stickers, with the money going to the Braille Center of Kern County.
Thanks very much.
We were so moved by Dr. Wall's crusade to get people to be more kind to each other. We wanted to get involved. And since this thing started with students, we thought what better way to spread the idea of random acts of kindness than to link schools across the country and get them involved together. The Interact Club at West High in Bakersfield gave us an idea. Interact Clubs are in hundreds of schools around the country and are sponsored by the Rotary International Community Service Organization. Using the resources of their national network, we asked them to join our crusade to spread a little kindness by creating kindness campaigns in their own communities. You sure didn't need to convince these students.
We want to start off with a one-week drive, which is, we're going to call it the Kindness Drive, which is going to get hyped up and everything, but we want this to continue throughout the whole year.
Our hopes were to go coast to coast with this, and what could be further from Bakersfield than New York? And what better ambassador of do-gooding than Dr. Wall himself? So we embarked on a whirlwind kindness tour of 8 high schools in Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island, where the smoke was still clearing from a deadly act of random violence on the Long Island Railway. 5 people were killed this past December and 17 wounded when a gunman opened fire on unsuspecting commuters. Students here are still trying to make sense of what happened. Perhaps that's why Dr. Wall's plea to give kindness a chance hit home. In Syosset, we watched as the local Interact Club bonded with senior citizens at the Syosset Senior Daycare Center.
That's good. That's good luck.
Okay.
In Queens, students from St. Agnes Academy and Bayside High School played with kids at the Ronald McDonald House, many about to undergo open heart surgery. Finally, in Brooklyn, we followed Lafayette High School students as they brought food to senior citizens and presents to patients with AIDS.
God bless you.
Steve, the best.
You're a dog.
Steve DeGennaro, who teaches human relations at Lafayette, told us his students were energized at the thought of joining forces with us, admitting that kindness is such a novel concept these days that sometimes we just don't expect it.
And I think the unfortunate thing is, with all the negative things going on in the world, that everyone is on a defensive. That even if you just stop someone on the street and said, "Hey, hi, how are you?" everyone backs off.
You know, you look like you could use a flower today.
Oh, no, it's for free.
He's right, of course.
I just want to buy his hot dog.
No, that's okay. No, seriously. No, let me pay for it. No,
Let me buy it.
that's okay.
No, please. Just a flower. Let me at least buy your hot dog. No, I'm serious.
But sometimes you have to be a little persistent, that's all.
We're shaking people's hands today. I just wanted to shake yours. No, seriously. Just shaking people's hands, that's all.
Okay.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Good to see you today, sir. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, too.
You can ignore kindness all you want, but you can only ignore it for so long.
This is some gag I'm doing or something.
It's not a gag. I'll pay for your breakfast. Just for no apparent reason, I just want to pay for it. Her money is no good. I'm telling you. Yeah, I'd like to pay for hers.
You can pay for my coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Everything or just the coffee?
No, everything.
Oh, and the Advil too. You can pay for all of it.
And you never know, as this thing catches on, none of us could be safe from another random act of senseless kindness.
You two ladies look like you need flowers. Isn't that the nicest thing somebody's done today? You're welcome.
We've had a lot of fun with this kindness thing, but we're serious about our crusade, and I think we're striking a chord out there. We've been scouring the halls of Congress enlisting support for a National Week of Kindness. So far, 128 congressional representatives have signed on, and you can put it over the top by calling your congressman or senator. As for our Bakersfield professor, Dr. Chuck Wall, he sold 15,000 kindness bumper stickers, and he's given all the money to charity. And soon, he'll be embarking on his own national kindness speaking tour.
Thank you, Mark. The Crusaders will be back in a moment.
Next, our Crusader Consumer Report reveals the truth behind low-fat foods. The Crusaders will return.
Just look at what's coming up on the next Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. Wednesday, the beautiful and talented Diane Carroll tells us what she's doing in an upcoming murder mystery. Plus, Mad Magazine's Dixie Bartolo with toys, and more toys to test. Later in the week, one of Primetime's hottest stars, Jerry Seinfeld, and Grammy Award winner Crystal Gale. So join us for Live. Tomorrow morning at 9 on WHAS 11.
Have you ever been lost in a large city and needed a map to find your way? It can be a frightening and frustrating experience. God has given us a map to find our way through the avenues of life. I'm Rodney Burnett, pastor of the Ninth and Old Baptist Church, inviting you to join us as we study God's Word to find direction for the avenues of our lives. Watch New Beginnings, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on WHAS 11.
No matter how far the journey, the need to make it home is basic, instinctual, undeniable. A 1994 Toyota 4Runner. For the way there, for the way back.
If your kids are participating in the WHAS 11 and Kroger Video Gold Setters program at school, they have a chance to win a week-long trip to the U.S. Space Camp in Alabama, courtesy of Bluegrass Coca-Cola. This incredible trip for 4 Gold Setters will give the kids a taste of life in space. The U.S. Space Camp trip includes round-trip airfare on Delta Airlines, official airline of the U.S. Space Camp. Also, tuition, meals, and other accommodations will be provided. The 4 Gold Setter winners will be chosen at the end of the school year. WHAS 11 and Kroger Video Gold Setters is sponsored in part by Bluegrass Coca-Cola.
Crusaders, journalists getting involved.
The hottest trend in supermarkets these days is fat-free foods. But are they fat-free or just the latest trick companies are using to fatten up their wallets? Consumer reporter Sylvia Gambardella takes a closer look at those food labels and tells us what we're really getting for our money, more or less.
Is this anybody's downfall? The whole box. The whole box is your downfall. People OD on this?
You bet.
What is it about fat-free desserts that are so addictive to you?
They're comforting, they're sweet, they're chewy, because you think that it's free when it says fat-free, that it's like there's no caloric value to it. So
no guilt?
Eat it, right, no guilt to it. So if you eat that whole box, so what? It's fat-free.
No-fat and low-fat foods now make up an $8 billion industry. A trade survey found 4 out of 5 Americans buy at least one or more of these products when they shop. It may sound obvious, but eating more than one serving of a non- or low-fat food can be almost as bad as having a helping of a sinful dessert. UCLA researcher Bill McCarthy confirmed that in a low-fat, no-fat study.
A number of the women reported weight gain rather than the weight loss that they had expected.
But products like fat-free potato chips, cookies, and frozen yogurt don't only defy logic, they also seem to stay fresh forever. My personal fat-free product is sour cream. I bought this container 6 months ago. It's been in my refrigerator ever since. It hasn't spoiled. In fact, it even tastes good. But I wonder what's in it and if it's good for me. Dave Heber is the director of the Nutrition and Obesity Training Program at UCLA.
One of the primary things that accounts for the longer shelf life of a no-fat sour cream is the fact that it doesn't contain fat, which is one of the primary things in dairy products that spoils.
So it's okay to eat even though it's been sitting there for 6 months?
Absolutely, and it has an expiration date that's still a few weeks away, so if you hurry, you can still have some of this.
Oh, wow. Okay. But though non-fat and low-fat products may be household words, the preservatives in them are not. A close look at the ingredients reveals the manufacturer is even fudging the claim fat-free. It may not be. This is chocolate loaf cake. I eat it myself. It's got diglycerides. Is that good for my body?
Well, it's just another form of fat, really. Diglycerides are building blocks of fat. And what the body does is to take in fat that you eat, break it down into its building blocks, and then reassemble it in your fat tissues. So essentially, you may as well be eating fat.
And why are they saying it's fat-free then?
Well, under the labeling laws, a building block of fat is not strictly called a fat, so it's considered fat-free.
But it is isn't just fat that puts on the pounds. Many non-fat and low-fat foods are also loaded with sugar, sometimes disguised under names like maltodextrin, fruit juice, fructose, even honey. Dieters taking even a bite of all that sugar will begin to crave more.
Sugar, we know that can stimulate appetite rather than decrease it.
Well, they have a lot of sugar in them, and sugar converts to fat. So in the end, you're actually getting fat.
And controlling fat is just one element of successful dieting.
What you need to do if you're really concerned about effective weight control is to eat more of those whole foods that include fiber, because that's the most effective way of eating to the point where you're no longer hungry and yet still not eating in excess of calories.
So the best advice if you're eating no-fat or low-fat foods is to eat in moderation and check the labels to make sure you aren't eating other ingredients you don't want, like a lot of salt and sugar.
Good advice, Sylvia. Thank you very much. Here's what's coming up next week on the Crusaders.
On the next Crusaders, a devastating tornado shattered their homes, their churches, and their families.
We must do a better job of providing severe weather warnings.
We've launched a crusade with the people of Piedmont, Alabama, to rebuild their town and their lives and protect them the next time a tornado strikes. Then, your morning newspaper may be harvested from one of the last remaining rainforests in America. But the Crusaders are fighting to preserve this threatened land and prevent this from becoming this. We've taught them AIDS prevention, but do they know the dangers of hepatitis B?
Spring break 94, baby!
The Crusaders travel to spring break in Florida to protect your kids when you can't. Gulp, chug, chug.
With as much as your kids drink, don't you want to give them a fruity drink with less sugar? Kool-Aid! Yep. Kool-Aid Sugar Sweetened Drink Mix now has 30% less sugar than High C or Wine Punch. You always feel good when you give them Kool-Aid.
No matter which kind of bandage you use, for faster healing, add Neosporin. It helps cuts heal faster. 4 days faster than a bandage alone. A bandage and Neosporin. Together, they make it better, faster.
Some women have a secret. The Playtex Secret Panty Glimmer. Of course it's pretty, but the real secret? A hidden panel that targets your tummy to control you where you need it most. The secret's out. The Playtex Secret Panty Glimmer. Now a new light control too. Shh, they really work.
Any kids around there, Jane?
I'm sorry, Billy, not your age.
A little earlier, Jane Stewart was troubled with arthritis pain, so she took a Motrin IB, the same Motrin doctors have prescribed for years, but in non-prescription strength. And just one Motrin IB is as effective as 2 regular aspirin.
All right, kid. Let's see what you got.
Aunt Jane?
Come on.
Motrin IB, the relief of Motrin in non-prescription strength. Now available in a new, easy-to-open, fast-cap package.
Guess which of your parts Lever 2000 is best for? Everyone's got it, up high and down low. It's good when it's smooth and great when it glows. It's the part that you'll find your other parts in. Give up? Lever 2000 is best for your skin because it's got the most effective skincare ingredients you can get in a deodorant soap. So it's best for parts here and best for parts there. The best way to show your parts that you care. Lever 2000, the deodorant soap that's best for your skin and all your 2000 parts.
I sure am happy with the new Grand Prix. Anti-lock brakes, 2 airbags. Really feel safe.
Safe schmafe. Beats me why she only talks safety. I mean, this is a Pontiac.
What a terrific buy. It was over 1,000 less than the toys.
And don't let that value stuff fool you. She's a wild woman. This is a Grand Prix.
With this V6 engine, it's nice to know the power's there when I need it.
Power, yes! That's my mom! To Grandma's! And step on it!
Thanks for being with us. And remember, we all have the power to make a contribution, to make a difference.
We promise to continue our crusade. We hope you'll join us. I'm Howard Thompson.
And I'm Carla Wall. See you next week.
If you'd like more information on the Child Lures program, call 802-985-8458. If you'd like to reach us to share a story or some comments of your own, send a fax to 818-841-6500 or call us at 818-982-3900.
Travel arranged through Continental, one airline, can make a difference. Business first. The comfort and service of international first class at a business class fare. That's the difference.
Tomorrow, actress-singer Diane Carroll joins Regis and Kathy Lee on Live at 9. Then cooking tips from the world's greatest chefs on Vicky at 10. All tomorrow.
Stay tuned for the latest from your first choice for news. Kentuckiana's News Channel, WHAS 11.
Look, all you gotta do is just go over there and just kind of walk and call Minky, okay? And I'll be over there. Yeah, and I'll just walk. If you can walk, see, he hides in the weeds. But if you would just look over there, and I'll be up and call Minky. He loves to hear children's voices. All right? I'll be over there. Minky, all right? Here, right up here. Trust me.
If you wish to purchase a transcript of this week's program, you may use your credit card by calling 1-800-777-TEXT or send a check for $6 to Burrell's Transcripts, P.O. Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039.
Tonight on the News Channel, a community in shock after a double killing. Meet